Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a double feature of Alliance Wars, and these aren't going to be as busy for me personally. Did not do as many fights in these wars, that's why I'm doing them both together. So here we have war against PYCB, so a very capable strong alliance as well, and I'm basically bringing in Odin's pre-fights to place them for a teammate of mine. And my own fights here are going to be done with Diablo, as pretty much always this season. I seem to have been stuck on the Diablo assignment, and that's pretty much all I do now is I just go in there and throw parry heavies, and things die in war. Right, so this is actually a slightly finicky, or this fight at the very least can go wrong. Because obviously Diablo does have the Fate Seal and the Neutralize thanks to offensive tactic. But if I do let Silver Surfer get any armor ups on him, then I could be in quite big trouble. So this fight is a little bit more, you know, stressful, I suppose, than it could be. It's not a complete mess. Obviously, it should be fine as long as I don't make any major mistakes. I should be able to completely control whatever buffs he gains. As soon as I have neutralized, I probably should, or probably would be smarter to bait out a heavy attack from Silver Surfer to make sure his power cosmic goes away, whilst I have the neutralize active, and that means I would eat up that power cosmic buff, and then with that, I just make it safer for me. But at the same time, I'm doing just fine. I'm keeping my neutralize active there, and yeah, there's not much else to it. Throw some level ones, finish with a nice full pitch perfect yellow bar, and it's a very straightforward fight here. And now I do need to move on to do my next fight, and this next fight is going to be quite interesting. I was asked to do these fights early on in the war in order not to hold anybody else up, which is perfectly fine. And this Cersei fight, I have seen people get in serious trouble with Cersei. In fact, I will get in a bit of trouble against Cersei in the next war, but we're going to discuss that. Either way, the plan here is quite interesting because Cersei is awakened. My game plan here is going to be I'm going to bait out a heavy attack, force her to activate that glancing mechanic, and then I'm going to smack her a bit, and that will basically start giving her regen buffs, which is going to catapult me to level 3. And that's pretty much it. And once that happens, bait out that special attack. Sweet. I was thinking, do I need to wait out that glancing or not? Fine, I'm not trying to wait that out. And now I'm dropping my level 3. That's again straightforward. Diablo gets a shortcut to 3 bars of power. And we all know what happens once 3 bars of power are a thing. Now, unfortunately, I do get clapped here a little bit, but it's fine. I'm going to drop a special to pause my poisons. And obviously, the poisons in the background take care of virtually everything. Now, this is actually kind of an important part because I will make a very annoying mistake. So I did get clipped, and I kind of forgot about it because how easy that fight was and everything else that I had to be dealing with over the weekend. And now this is the next day. And the boss is already down. The result of the war is quite clear. And I know that I just need to go and do my job, obviously not to die. But I wasn't a happy bunny at this war or at this point in the war as is. So I'm thinking, do I need an invulnerability boost for this? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and activate it. Again, I still do not want to die. Make situation worse for us because we are in a position where, every KO counts basically. And well, we're going to talk about that towards the end of the video. But either way, here against Nova, I started the fight and then I realized that I didn't potion up. I was like, oh, that's not great. However, since I did activate that Indestructible 3 boost, I also have a fairly decently good plan here. I'm not trying to even get my intercepts really. I will be getting to level 3, and that is where this plan kind of goes, because Noah at the moment got reluctant to throw his special attack. So I decided, you know what, fine, I am just going to push that Nova up to level 3, gain as much power before that as possible, because obviously I have Indestructible 3 boost. They're perfect for eating level 3s, and level 3 is kind of great way to get some extra power if you have indestructible 3 boost, and there is no real downside of letting opponent activate at level 3. And that puts obviously me closer to a level 3 of my own, and once that happens, that Nova is going to be toast. So I have not once tried to intercept the Nova in this match. I'm just trying to keep it as simple, sticking to the basics. Everything's good. Now 19 poisons, putting in work there through the protection. So that's only like 40% of the damage, but it's enough to defeat that Nova. And this kind of like heart racing moment is over. And now I will heal up. Now I will regen up before I take that Galan. I still have the indestructible 3 boost, and against Galan with Diablo, it's also fairly straightforward. Now, obviously, Galan is a champion that is easier to intercept than Nova. There is no auto block, and this entire fight is much more controllable, so I do intercept him relatively early on, just to increase my damage output. And then from that point, just make sure that I am neutralizing him as much as possible, and when I do, he's not gaining any of the buffs, and when he's not gaining any of the buffs, he's not gaining any of the planetary mass, and when that is happening, the fight's safe. Now, he did activate this level 1 whilst I did have no neutralize active, but at this point, he's at 35% health. I'm going to get rid of his planetary mass momentarily, so I will not be risking harvest for pretty much anytime soon. And I still also had the protection down for as much as it mattered, and that was pretty much it. So it's a very, relatively modest war from my side. I don't think I had to do any mini bosses here either. Unfortunately, we ended up losing this war 2-4. It was quite clear that we are going to lose this early on because we died like 3 times by the time they, were still clearing Deathless, and yeah. So definitely not a great war here. We basically pissed away our chance at, pulling ahead, because after this war, I believe this was war number 8. So after this war, there are 6 alliances with a record of 6-2. So this was New Nation's second loss in the season. And unfortunately, had we not lost this one, we would have jumped up to the first place. So this is a hugely unfortunate war. And obviously, you can't say much to PYCB. They cleared with 2 deaths, and they had a very good war. They're a very strong alliance. They played better than us. They deserve to win. We didn't. So all of the kind of like top of the leaderboard ambitions starting to crumble are on us, nobody else. Now, this is the current war that we are having against JA Jedi Assassins, another killer alliance, and they are in the running for the first place as well. And they have the same record as we do. And that means, we need to do our best. Need to do our best. I'm using Diablo yet again. I also have Nick Fury for one fight in particular. And I am fortunate enough to be able to take like all of my fights in one go as well. And at this point, again, without giving away too much, I was not a happy bunny when these fights were done. So you are going to see a few rash decisions, few things that I otherwise wouldn't do. Even though for most part, one thing that I did completely differently. The rest of it, for most part, is pretty much perfectly fine. Kind of stand by it. But this first fight against Brintra, nothing special. Diablo, sure, parry heavy, poison him, make sure he doesn't get many of his charges, and keep an eye on aggression prowess. Obviously, don't let that get out of hand. Everything else is fine. Obviously, with parry heavy method, you are slower at removing those prowesses. So at some point, if I'm going to see he has too many, I will be dropping like a full combo or something. Like here, by the time he throws his special attack, he's pretty much at 4 prowesses already. So there I just went on for a full combo, dropped my level 1. And now I can get back to it. I have like 6 poisons paused here on Rintra. I'm going to pause them at 7. And here we can see that, yeah, quite easily he's going down. I'm not even going for level 3 in this matchup. And for Rintra, being placed in section 1. I always love when this happens. When you throw your heavy attack just as he's getting KO'd, you can still catch them and hit them off the ground. This is one of my favorite kind of like Easter eggy bits in MCOC. It's always fun when that happens, especially with, multi-hit specials or heavy attacks. Anyhow, and now I need to head off to my section 2. And here's one thing that, I would probably do differently. Otherwise, I would change my masteries normally. I have Quicksilver here. I would typically take off Liquid Courage Double Edge if I have to use Nick Fury and have that deep wounds. But at the same time, I figured this is the only fight I need Nick for. And I'll just keep the Liquid Courage Double Edge on. I'll take some damage. I'll get hit maybe, but we can see that I'm clearly doing, enough damage to that Quicksilver to finish off this fight. And even if I lose my life model decoy, I still have the entire second life to work with, so it's not a big deal. And this is one of the things that, I just kind of cheaped out a bit on the war, just because, well, it's more that I just didn't want to change my masteries, because I was very confident that even if this fight goes wrong, and then whatever went wrong in this fight goes wrong again, I'll be fine, because of how well Nick Fury can deal with Quicksilver, because of the fact that I do have life model decoy. Here we can see that obviously did end up at 20% health, but that was all within the calculation, so to speak. Now this fight gets a bit dicier, and this is a bit where I can fully admit that at this point, at any other war of the season thus far, I would have activated Indestructible 3 boost, and I didn't. Because honestly, okay, I'm not going to be honest here. It's just I didn't. That's about it. But the plan is still the same as it was before, except that now Rich Get Richer kind of screws me over, and I get clipped by that Cersei. And Cersei's specials do clip me. I get to my level 3, but I do want that power charge to expire first. And now that has happened, unfortunately, I get clipped again. And at this point, I get quite scared. All good, though. We are at our level 3. And, we're going to deal with this fight from this. It was a clumsy start, but the plan is solid. We are following that plan here. And that's all there is to it. And now I'm just going to activate my specials to kind of stall out for time. She's still getting those regen buffs, but she's basically dying and everything's good. I just was clumsy waiting. And that Indestructible 3 boost would have saved me a potion or something, but I just didn't activate it. For the final fight that I have in this war, I will have the Gore mini boss to deal with, and this kind of annoyed me because I took too much damage in the previous fight, so I need to heal up there, which I do. And for this one, I'm gonna also activate the Power Stat 1 boost. So obviously, Conflictor, Combat Deja Prowess, so on and so forth, yada yada yada. Honestly, Gore is not too scary of a placement here. At the very least, I don't think he is, because the plan here is going to be very, very simple. Just hit him a few times and make sure he gets that regen buff. Then use level 1. That's going to put me close to 3 bars of power. Then I want to hit his block and stall and delay, ideally slowly, slightly, because I do want him to activate a special attack, so he gets a new set of buffs that I can nullify after I throw my level 3. And then I just went in for a full combo, pushed myself 3 bars of power, and obviously, as soon as the level 3 is achieved, you basically win the fight. Because we can see that level 3 itself actually does a decent amount of damage. Can't complain there, but I have 15 poisons active. I have a ton of power, which, I do throw my level 2 to refresh the poisons, and the gore is dead. That's an absolute nuke. Now, the reason why I wasn't a happy bunny and I didn't use that Indestructible 3 boost, which I know is not the greatest thing, is because at the point that I was doing my fights, we already had died 6 times to their 0 times. And collectively, in between the last war and this war, effectively New Nation just kind of pissed away the entire season. And, well, as you can imagine, it probably doesn't make you too happy of a bunny. And at this point in this war, I wasn't really that bothered if I screw up my so far very good Deathless season with like 3 or 4 boss solos and stuff like that. Because, losing this war effectively means that we're out of the race for top 3. We're probably going to finish somewhere in top 10 Masters. Well, unless we carry on the way we have been doing for the last couple of wars. And yeah, I can't really explain what happened here with this war and the previous one. Everything else is just kind of like the team broke a bit. Something broke in somewhere. I don't know. Is it to do with Kabam's extremely demoralizing announcement about 7 stars and whatnot, or because New Nation isn't like a Whaley alliance, so all of these matters where you have to spend to compete type of thing, which is what 7-star crystals and Titan crystals are going to be about, and Paragon crystals are going to be about, stuff like that. They do significantly affect New Nation morale. That's just my theory. I don't know what else to say, because people have been doing stupid things. People have been randomly doing fights that they're not supposed to do, randomly messing up in those fights, or yeah. And don't have much else to say. Officers have a lot of work to do before the start of the next season, because this one effectively is over for New Nation, and yeah, the season's over. There's lots of work to be done by the start of the next one, and I hope they do it. I hope they do it. As always, when it comes to alliance stuff, I always say that I have no real interest in being officer myself, just because of the sheer amount of time it takes. Wish them all the best, but when it comes to being an alliance member, I always have had the attitude, and I do have the attitude of I'm gonna do what I'm told, and I'm gonna try to do it the best I can. And there are aspects, of the game it is, but it's not great right now for New Nation. That's all I'm gonna say there. So yeah, basically New Nation went from 5-1. No wait, was it? No, New Nation went from 6-1 score to 6-2 to 6-3 now. So New Nation is at 6-3 score right now, entering the final week of Alliance War, and yeah, it's just one of those where the sooner it finishes, the better. But let me know how your war seasons are going, and I'm gonna catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about